Making time stop, I wanna stand still. Making time stop, need some time just to kill. Making time stop, just wanna stop for a little while. Making time stop, need some time just to stop.
Well, we move from Jim Brown in the 1990s to the 1960s. My next guest lived the life the devotees of that era would have given all their tie-dyes for. She's a former member of the group The Mothers of Invention, Essra. Now let me get the name straight.
Okay.
Can we do that? You started off as Sandy Hurwitz,
Well, actually, Hurwitz with the
Hurwitz.
V. It slides off the tongue like
Okay.
sandpaper.
then Jamie Carter,
Right, for my first record.
then Uncle Meat,
When I was in The Mothers, that was a name that Frank gave me.
and now you have become Essra Mohawk.
This is correct.
It was easier dealing with Jim Brown. I mean, that's a nice, simple name. I'd love, though, tell me about Uncle Meat. How does one get to be called Uncle Meat?
Very simply, I was standing on stage when I was in The Mothers. That's The Mothers of Invention.
Yes, I think it would help some people to know that.
And that was Frank Zappa's band, and he used to play at the Garrick Theater on Bleecker Street in the Village in New York. And Ray Collins, who was the lead singer in The Mothers, said to Frank one day, "What do you think of the name Uncle Meat for a rock star?" So Frank just thought about it for 2 seconds, turned around, pointed at me, and said, "You're Uncle Meat." And basically, I disagreed.
As we used to say, you can call me anything but late for dinner.
I wish I'd had that attitude.
I read a wonderful line that he said to you, how would you like to become a mother? I think that's one of the great invitations of all time.
Yeah, it was neat. I said, sure.
You were present at the creation in the 60s. What was it like? I mean,
The
the
60s,
whole crazy scene in Frank Zappa. Do you remember it well?
Yeah, I sort of vaguely. No, I
Yeah.
remember it well.
Yeah?
The 60s, to me, it was like the inside of my mind suddenly becoming reality, and internal became external. And then suddenly it wasn't anymore, but I still was there inside my mind. So, yeah, I'm still wearing the stuff. But for The Mothers was the first band I was ever in. So I had nothing to compare them to. Suddenly, I was in my favorite band, and that was wonderful. Unfortunately, being as young as I was, I couldn't really appreciate it the way I do now.
I mean, you thought everything was like this.
Yes. You just walk down the street and you bump into Frank Zappa, and he starts talking to you, and he lets you in the show, and afterwards he hears you play and asks you to join the band. That's all I knew.
And life was going to be like that forever and ever.
And it was for a while.
Did the drugs and the general craziness of that time, did it help the music? Did it hurt it? Did it enhance it? Is there any way to look back and reflect on that?
It probably did all those things. You know, in individual situations. At that point, I wasn't really into, you know, anything heavy in drugs. And
No, I just mean the general scene. It was a craziness that we've never had before. And
Well,
does good art come out of that? Does good music, is it produced that way?
it can be, but I think once again it depends on who's producing the music. I think a great musician or a great writer is going to be good under any circumstances. I think they'll probably do their best work not under the influence. But that kind of person is going to do great work no matter what. And I think someone who's not very good, all the drugs in the world won't help them.
What was Zappa like?
He didn't do any drugs.
No, I don't mean drugs. What was he
It's
like?
important, though.
Oh, okay, fine, all right. We got that down. But what was he like?
He certainly commanded a room, any room he was in. Very charismatic, very sure of himself, and very businesslike.
He was businesslike.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he was about and exactly what he was trying to achieve, and he would set about and achieve it. You know, I think that he was way ahead of his time that way.
How long were you
Might
with
have been
him?
the first yuppie.
How long were you with him?
For about a year.
And then you went on to a lot of other... so much of what you read about you is, she's so good. You're discovered about every year.
Continually.
You're continually discovered. Why don't you remain discovered, Essra?
It's a very good question. People have been asking me that for a long time, or forms of that question. I personally believe, and a lot of people, at least at this time, also believe, that maybe if I had made it back then, you know, or any period in the last, 10, 20 years, I would now have been someone who made it back then. And so I would be old instead of new. This way, I'm still new. And maybe because of the way that the industry is right now, it seems that people only want to hear what's brand new. Even if what's being said or what's being played may not be new. Mm-hmm. But like I just read the other day in Billboard, one of the columnists was asking, isn't it strange, I think they were talking about Vanilla Ice, how someone could go from new on the charts to where are they now in less than a year. So things have really changed from someone who could be continual, which I certainly potentially, and I guess I'm still here.
You should be like a soap where they say first new and then they say new improved.
That would be better.
You could work that way. That would be a new angle. The clothes, now they are reminiscent of another time.
Well, I've always loved like leather and fringe and tie-dye and color, and I like black too. I like wearing just black. I think that's great. But I never stopped wearing these kind of things.
Do people comment on that?
Oh, there's so many other people wearing them.
Oh, this is coming back?
I think so, yeah. In fact, on the train today, I saw all people from all walks of life, not as it used to be, just the hippies were the only ones who dressed like this. Everybody's dressing like this now.
And I see you've even got a peace symbol on there.
Well, that I got. I never wore a peace symbol in the 60s, I have to admit. But I think now it's time.
So the 60s are returning right before my eyes.
Well, either that or what's really returning, or not even returning, but brand new. It's like the third millennium, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's fin de siècle, as the French say. We're approaching the end of the century, and we're also approaching a commercial break, but we'll be back in just a moment.
We fight to make our dreams come true. Time's up before the do. But if the rainbow never ends, I've been around so many bends. I've always been the one who said